the peace of God. Becky, as she prepared our bulletins this morning, she must have had a little bit of divine guidance, because she went straight to the Bible verse that I'd like to share with you. It's on the cover of your bulletin. It's from Philippians chapter 4, and I'll be reading verse 7. I'll read from the George Lamsa translation from the Aramaic language that Jesus spoke. And the peace of God, which passes all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Jesus Christ. As I was getting everything ready here, I pulled out one of the Bibles that's in the pews there, and I read this same verse, Philippians 4 and verse 7. There's a couple of little minor things that are different, because that word passes, that isn't just 100% clear. That might be an older usage of the word. I wanted to say, surpasses, or maybe it does pass. Like when we're on the 4-lane and we're driving along, just 5 miles below the speed limit, and here comes someone zooming by and they pass us. That peace of God, it passes understanding, like that sports car that flashes by us. But I really like the word that was used in the New International Version here. It says the peace of God transcends all understanding. And there's another thing that I like too. Instead of saying Jesus Christ, it says Christ Jesus. Subtle difference. But when Charles Fillmore was doing his metaphysical Bible interpretation, he discriminated between the use of Jesus Christ, Jesus, and Christ Jesus. And for him, and Jesus Christ, that was the person, the human being, Jesus. But Christ Jesus was a fully human being, the Christed Jesus, someone who has been there, done it, and completely transformed into the pure white light that we get in the Transfiguration. Christ Jesus. He is right up here at the top of this diagram. Yes, that ego is still present, but he is living from his fully Christed self. And he's showing us, through his example of his life and all of his teachings, how we can be there too. The active voice in his consciousness is the Christ light. The Christ light that's in all of us. Because if you'll look, you'll see that this yellow triangle descends into the blue and mixes, making the green, but it goes all the way down here where you think that there is no light at all, that it's so much darkness. But this darkness still has this point of light in it. There's no place, there's no spot where God is not. I learned that recently. I love it. We are never alone. And that peace of God that transcends all our understanding. Our brain can't even wrap itself around this. It's passed by the peace of God, like the sports car, like the Corvette, around my little Volkswagen Rabbit. Diesel. Yes. I drove a Volkswagen Beetle for a long time, a 1961 Beetle. And I was going fast if I was going 55. Unless I was going down the mountain, I'd take it out of gear. And then I could go. But I got passed a lot, so I understand what this passes means as I drove my little Volkswagen. with the little bitty tail lights they weren't no bigger than that. And when it was raining hard, you just hope that big truck behind you is awake, because he's not going to see those little lights until he's right on you. And he'll transcend you all right. Right? Squish, squish, squish. That peace of God has that. It's so much more vast than anything we can possibly understand. That big semi-truck with a trailer, maybe even pulling another trailer behind it. They call it piggyback, I think, in the CB lingo. It's so much more big, has so much more inertia behind it, that it just rolled right over top of my little Beetle. I was watching a show on Netflix the other day. It's a Netflix only, so I had to be watching Netflix to see Stranger Things. Yeah, so some of y'all know what I'm talking about. It's about these kids, and I, you know, a really good show or movie or television series is one where you can get and put yourself right in there in the place of the characters and really feel involved in the story. And when you get a really good show, and for me this show is like that, because they start out this very first episode of the first season, they're playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I can't count the number of hours I spent as a junior high school, or even college age playing Dungeons and Dragons with my friends. But the point is, as I was watching this show, involved with these characters now, so I'm feeling what they're feeling, and there's this big, they don't even know what it is, okay? So they call it the Demogorgon, which in Dungeons and Dragons is a huge archdemon. You know, he's pure evil, and he's very powerful. So here is these characters, and they're going out there, and they're determined to take on this Demogorgon. So you've got to know the fear they're feeling and the tension that's going on. And I realized that, man, I'm holding that same tension in my body. I feel my neck is tense, my back is tense. I'm getting the feeling in my stomach from the fear that they're feeling. I'm going right there with them. Oh, wow. I've gone below the line. I'm down here now. I'm separated. And look at what I've done following and watching this show. And that's the value of a good movie. Because it's not a real thing that's going on. This is just a story. So it really doesn't matter. But look what it did. Look what it did to my consciousness. If you're aware and you're really into a good movie, and it comes to that suspenseful part, and all good movies are designed to do this to us, because that's what makes them so good. Our ego goes right there along with the characters. But they make such good playgrounds for our spiritual toolbox. We get an opportunity in the space of a half an hour for each episode, or 2 hours for a movie, to use 3 or 4 different spiritual tools to bring ourselves back. Just, whew, look what I did. And it won't be long, because it's a good movie. We'll be right back in there with the characters, and we'll get to do it again. We'll get to pull out another spiritual. We get to affirm an affirmation this time instead of just a deep breath. We can say, I am. Or even, this is just a movie. Isn't that a denial? This is just a movie. Let it go. I am. And then we're back. We've moved ourselves up. And then the plot thickens again, and we're back to being all tensed up. So I'll invite you, as you're watching your next good movie, check in with your body and notice what's doing. And then find that peace of God. And watch how it just overwhelms the tension, the fear, the anger, the whatever it is that feeling is. If it's bringing tension into your body, constricting you, it's also constricting the flow of life for you. So it's really good exercise, because when we feel that constriction, we are shutting down. Science knows this. I can't remember the good scientific word for it. Maybe one of y'all will help me. I'll start to describe it. But we get it when we become stressed. Anything that is a stressor will automatically put us in fight or flight mode. And what happens inside our body is all of the resources, our blood, okay? Because the blood brings all the resources to every part of our body. But when we get in fight and flight mode, it doesn't bring it to every part of our body. It says, we got to get ready to run or to fight. And what do we need to run or fight? We need our large muscle groups, arms, legs. We're ready. And we've got this tension in us, and we're ready now. But what doesn't get any resources when we're in fight or flight mode? Our brain, our digestive system, our autoimmune system, that what heals the little cuts and the bruises. And how often, when you feel stress, are you really in danger of your life and need all of that energy to go to your large muscle groups? The peace of God. It takes us back. So many different spiritual, a spirit break, denial and an affirmation, a good, nice, deep breath, count to 10. I've recently discovered one that I've been using and I didn't have a good name for it. And it's called Wonder. Wonder. You know, when we were kids, everything was wonderful. It didn't matter what it was. We were seeing it for the first time. Wow. And we can still experience that. And when we look out there, and I look out there and I see these leaves on the trees, and I'll never forget the day I got my first glasses, and I got out of the car and there was a tree, and I could see the leaves and how amazing and wonderful it was. And that wonder has the power to bring us to that peace of God. And that peace of God, it's like a light. And all that constriction and all those other feelings down here, that's the darkness. And that light shines in the darkness, and the darkness is just gone. It doesn't have a chance. In the presence of the light, it has no chance. So I'm going to invite you through this week, as you're watching television or your phone or wherever it is you like to get your video content, to take a moment and check in with your body and realize, just for a second, did I fall into a place of constriction? And if I did, what toolbox, what spiritual tool would you like to pull out of your toolbox and put to use to bring you back to the peace of God? And then, because it's a good movie or a good show, you'll get to try it again. And this even works for comedies. It doesn't have to be a scary show. It works for comedies too. Because inevitably, comedies involve drama. And what does drama do? It triggers something in us. We'll have a chance. If you'll be aware of yourself, even in a comedy, there'll be a time when you can really go back to the peace of God. The peace of God that transcends, that passes like a Corvette the limited understanding that we have to bring to bear. I can't wait to talk about this in our circle of light. The peace of God.